From the Great Northwoods to the Rock Mountain Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, Rockland police are investigating a crash between a motorcycle and a car. We'll have those details coming up.
Plus, Bangor's Together Place has now officially closed their doors during the day due to a lack of funds. We'll have the latest on that as well.
And folks gathered over the weekend on the Penobscot River to celebrate marine heritage. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, it was nice seeing some of those tall ships.
Really cool.
Rolling into various places.
Absolutely.
You don't see them anymore.
No, you don't.
Yeah, we'll have that story and more coming up. But first, a check of the forecast, and it's looking like a rainy day ahead. It's already raining outside our studios here.
Yes. Yeah, this morning I kind of got caught up in it outside, so I had to run in real quick. But
good news is my old pickup truck's getting a wash today. It needs it bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My car probably does too. We'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Monday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. This morning we have a small craft advisory that is up until 8 a.m. as we head towards your Tuesday. We are going to be watching for some active surf as an area of low pressure approaches from the southwest and tracks off towards the north and to the east. Meanwhile, this morning we are watching for some rain that is developing from southwest and going toward the north and east. Not much lightning with this, but we are going to be watching for showers and thunderstorms today, and the winds will be picking up with this too, so be ready for some gusty winds on top of the rain, and that is why that small craft advisory is posted this morning. As we do watch this, though, we are going to be seeing this tracking northeast, and the rain, again, no lightning with this just quite yet, but it is going to be moving in our direction as we do push forward in time. So here we are. We do have the showers and thunderstorms moving in this morning. You notice the tight isobars. That is the wind right there, and it is going to change directions later on tonight. But notice this clears out, so that means Tuesday will be a lot better. The hourly forecast as we do push forward, again, showers and yes, thunderstorms today with temperatures only in the low 70s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa?
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Devin. Well, police in Rockland are investigating a serious collision over the weekend between a motorcycle and a car. It happened around 5:30 on Saturday afternoon on Park Street. Officials say the 20-year-old rider was not wearing a helmet when the two vehicles collided. The operator was rushed to Penn Bay Medical Center with possible life-threatening injuries. No word on that person's condition this morning. A crash reconstructionist from the Maine State Police was also called to the scene to help determine how it happened. And at this point, police believe that excessive speed may have been a factor. It was one of 10 vehicle crashes reported in Rockland on Saturday alone.
Well, meanwhile, a person is dead after a head-on crash in Randolph. Kennebec County Sheriff's Office Chief Deputy Chris Reed says authorities responded to a two-car crash at 76 Water Street in Randolph on Thursday a little after 2 p.m. According to that report, all of the people were still trapped in their vehicles. Reed says 62-year-old Deborah Alexander of Gardner was driving one of the vehicles, and despite life-saving efforts, she died at the scene. Her passenger, 18-year-old Troy Simmons of Gardner, was transported to Maine Medical Center with severe injuries. Reed says that 51-year-old Marion Porter of China, who was driving the other vehicle, was taken to Central Maine Medical Center with severe injuries. Reed says the preliminary investigation shows Alexander's vehicle drifted into the incoming lane and struck the other vehicle head-on. The crash remains under investigation this morning.
Well, a teenager charged with 2 murders in Chelsea will be tried as an adult, despite being 16 years old when the alleged crimes occurred. According to state police, 43-year-old Christopher Honeywell and his adopted son, 22-year-old Ty Carter, were found by state troopers dead inside a Chelsea home back in June of 2025. The teen accused of killing them is 17-year-old Jason Honeywell. He was a cousin to one of the victims who had taken him in. According to court paperwork, multiple factors were considered, including potential threats to public safety. There's no set timetable right now for when a trial might proceed.
Well, expecting mothers and doctors are calling it a crisis here in Maine. 9 maternity units have closed across the state in the past few years. This means longer and scarier drives to hospitals with delivery units. As Allison LaPierre reports, community leaders want to prevent another one from shutting down on the Mid-Coast.
Efforts are underway to try and save a Mid-Coast Maine labor and delivery hospital.
And I want to be very clear. We are asking as loudly as we can for Maine Health Board to not close labor and delivery services at Lincoln Hospital.
Nurses and doctors, community members, and state leaders rallied outside Portland City Hall this morning. They hope to prevent Lincoln Hospital's Miles Campus Birthing Center in Damariscotta from closing.
I am optimistic that with the motivation of all of us, Maine Health will change their position and work with us to save labor and delivery in Damariscotta.
The Maine Health Board continues to discuss the future of the facility's birthing services. In a statement sent to us, a Maine Health spokesperson wrote in part, "At Maine Health Lincoln Hospital, the review of labor and delivery services remains in our established governance process. No final decision has been made." Several mothers living in rural Maine say there's not a lot of options for giving birth.
I was living rurally. The hospital had closed. I had to drive into the city, which was 45 miles away, and it was a terrifying ride. Is the car going to stop? Am I going to hit the traffic into the city? Am I going to get through the city without sirens and people stopping us?
Numerous state leaders addressed the concerns, including U.S. Democratic Senate nominee Troy Jackson.
Healthcare is essential, and in rural Maine we are struggling, and we have to have places like Miles stay open so that we can have people continue to live.
The rally finished with a march down Congress Street.
And that was Allison LaPierre reporting. In other news, an HIV outbreak in Penobscot County continues to grow. A new case of HIV has been identified in Penobscot County, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 45. The Maine CDC says 91% of those diagnosed since 2023 have used injectable drugs, and 91% are also facing homelessness. The majority of those in Penobscot County living with HIV also have hepatitis C. 82% have been able to receive care. More information is available on the Maine CDC's website, including resources for testing and care, as well as safety tips and how to know if you're at risk for an HIV infection.
Well, after 45 years of serving some of Bangor's most vulnerable populations, the Together Place has been forced to temporarily close their doors. On Friday afternoon, they announced that they fell short of their funding goal by $75,000. This puts a pause on many of their vital services, including meals, local resources, recovery services, and shelter. Leaders of the organization are adamant that they're not giving up on their mission or the community they serve. Their doors will temporarily close, but board president Shay Mullaney says they're aiming for this not to be a permanent goodbye.
It's an intrinsic part of recovery. We have a responsibility. When somebody needs help, our hand is always there. And that's what we're going to do. That's what we've been doing and hopefully continue to do. We love Bangor. I love Bangor. This has become my home, and I am honored to give back. This is the place where I got sober. This is the place where my life changed, and I just want to give that back to everybody else here. We all go through together.
According to Mullaney, the Together Place does plan to reopen when it's possible. They are still accepting donations and say that every little bit helps them get further to that goal of reopening. To learn more, you can visit togetherplace.org.
Now, $30 million is on its way to 11 rural hospitals in Maine. That money from the Department of Health and Human Services is intended to help strengthen the long-term financial health and sustainability of rural hospitals across the state. A statement from DHHS says the hospitals were invited to participate after an analysis of key financial factors. The agency identified hospitals that would benefit the most from the one-time investment. Millinocket Regional Hospital, Mount Desert Island Hospital, Northern Light A.R. Gould Hospital, and Maine Health Penn Bay Hospital are among the recipients.
Well, in other news, food insecurity is a growing problem here in Maine. And according to a new report from Feeding America, more than 200,000 Mainers didn't know where their next healthy meal would come from last year. Our Alex Schley has more on those findings and how local organizations are trying to keep up with the growing need.
Thursday, Feeding America released the findings of a study looking at growing food insecurity in Maine.
That's a change from about 190,000 people to 203,000 people, right? So about 13,000 people more who are not certain where their next meal is going to come from. We also see in that number 50,000 children.
McCarthy says the recent findings were based on numbers collected during 2024.
So what we know from firsthand experience here on the ground is that hunger is likely even higher than that in today's reality because those numbers don't reflect federal changes to food programs that have gone into place in the last 18 months.
McCarthy says the study reveals that rural communities, specifically those in Washington County, were adversely affected by individuals facing food insecurity. Chris Street, the nutrition director for Eastern Area Agency on Aging, which provides Meals on Wheels for residents in Penobscot, Hancock, Piscataquis, and Washington counties, say they have seen this firsthand.
Especially for those on our Meals on Wheels program that are really in deep need of good nutrition, that the referrals that we've seen come in for that have increased by about 100% over the last 2 years. We used to average about 20, 25 referrals every single month. And we're starting to get into the 50 to 60 per month across our four counties.
Street says while the increased demand is putting increased stress on nonprofits, they are continuing to work every day to help Mainers in need.
To see people struggling to get the food that they need, and in seeing that not even just being food insecure is their only issue, but it's a root cause of many of the other problems, health concerns that they end up having.
Alex Live reporting for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, the time now is 8:11. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, the gaff schooner Harvey Gamage docked on the Bangor waterfront. We'll learn more about that ahead.
But first, another look at that forecast. A rainy day ahead today. Might see some thunderstorms too. High temperatures around 74 degrees. Thunderstorms early tonight, then things will start to clear out. Lows dropping down to the low 60s. Tomorrow, a beautiful day on the way. Day to go to the beach, Janessa.
It really is.
Mostly sunny and windy. Highs near 84. We'll be right back.
John Brown first opened his own appliance store in Ellsworth in 1976. With his gift of storytelling, a strong work ethic, and a philosophy of putting others first, John and his wife and children saw the business prosper and grow. Today's third and fourth generation of family and their entire team continue to follow the example set by their grandparents and parents. Brown Appliance and Mattress, High Street, Ellsworth, a family tradition of quality, value, and customer service that always puts you first.
Invest in your nest with the County Federal Credit Union. Your home has grown in value season after season. With the county's 10-10 Home Equity Line of Credit, you can borrow up to your credit limit over 10 years with interest-only payments over those 10 years, 10-10. And then you can stop and smell the roses, soak up the sun, and invest in your nest. The 10-10 Home Equity Line of Credit, the County Federal Credit Union, countyfcu.org.
In Maine, your home takes a beating. Wind, snow, time. That's why you call a crew that knows how to build it right. Certified Therma-Tru door installers, so it's sealed tight and built to last. Big job, small job, doesn't matter. If it's part of your home, we handle it. No runaround, no shortcuts, just solid work and people who stand behind it. Alpha Construction, built with quality, backed by trust.
Think you're good at trivia? Arrange these holidays, these historic firsts, these animals. By the way,
I have no idea.
Congratulations, you have built the perfect line. I'm Deborah Norville, and this is The Perfect Line.
Onion rings before, in between onion rings and pizza.
Definitely after. Oh, this is what happy looks like.
Weekdays at 10 on Fox 22.
The The arrival of the Harmy-Gamage schooner also kicked off a celebration of America's 250th and the Penobscot River's maritime history. The Penobscot Maritime Heritage Association's multi-day 4-port loop event encourages folks to visit the 14 riverfront ports of the Penobscot River. Stationed along the Brewer Riverfront was the world's largest 3D printed boat, constructed by the Advanced Structures and Composites Center of the University of Maine, highlighting the future of marine technology. Local row teams also offered free lessons on 32-foot gig boats in Bangor, part of a regional effort by area groups to expand the rowing community.
I hope they see us out there having fun on a gorgeous day, and they're like, geez, I'd like to get involved in that, and then to check out some of the groups in the area and to learn to row.
It's really fantastic to remember like the heritage of the maritime and the importance of that on our communities, and the Bangor Brewer area certainly came to be as a result of this river, Penobscot River, and all the commerce that it brought in. And actually within the last 10 years, both waterfront sides have really developed, and so they're a great place to come and do things.
The Maritime Heritage Celebration will conclude today, but organizers encourage people to tour the historic towns along the 4-port loop all year long.
Well, it was a rare opportunity for those on board and on land as the Harmy-Gamage docked in Bangor. Her arrival is part of that immersive tour of the Penobscot River, really a special program. Our Doug Banks has more.
Something different to see her on the waterfront here on a Friday afternoon.
It was a spectacle for spectators as they watched the gaff schooner Harmy-Gamage dock at the Bangor waterfront. She began her trip Friday morning in Bucksport. Her waterfront arrival is part of the 4-port loop put on by the Penobscot Maritime Heritage Association, which takes passengers on a voyage of the Penobscot River.
This was the interstate system years ago.
With stops in Bucksport, Searsport, Castine, Bangor, and Brewer. According to the association's president, ambitions to create the 4-port loop tour set sail 3 years ago when the Santa Maria traversed the Penobscot.
And it was so overwhelming in Bucksport you couldn't find a parking spot.
This year's immersive tour celebrates America's 250th anniversary, and he says plans are in place 3 years from now to honor the worst U.S. naval defeat prior to Pearl Harbor.
The Penobscot expedition.
Built in 1973 in South Bristol, Maine, the Harmy-Gamage stands approximately 91 feet tall and 131 feet long, a representation of the state's wooden boat-building tradition, serving as an educational vessel for over 5 decades.
And they learn how to jib the sails and manage the ship, and by the time they're through in 1 week, they can do it themselves.
Various vessels dock here in Bangor, but because of the height of the Veterans Remembrance Bridge, it's a rare opportunity when a ship like the Harmy-Gamage makes its way to the waterfront.
We don't see them very often this far upstream, so it's a unique opportunity for spectators here in the community and from around the region.
The vessel began its return voyage to Bucksport at 2 p.m. In Bangor, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Police officers never know what the day will bring, and that was certainly the case in Winslow on Sunday when they discovered some unexpected gas in the department's dumpster. 4 raccoons had become trapped after dropping by in search of a quick meal. The young bandits were hot and clearly upset about their predicament, but luckily for them, officers used a board to slide the dumpster door open so that they could return to the wild. Just another day on the job for the folks at Winslow PD, I suppose. They're kind of cute.
They are cute.
Oh, that's too funny.
Yeah, little trash bandits.
Trash bandits, yes. Well, the time now is 8:18. After the break, negotiations between the U.S. and Iran are set to resume. We'll bring you the details coming up.
Plus, over the weekend, many all across Maine celebrated the wild blueberry. We'll join that celebration straight ahead on Good Morning Maine.
Seasons Lounge and Banquet Center. We're just 1 block from Hollywood Slots in Bangor and are now under new management with a new chef and a completely redesigned menu. Come grab a drink and enjoy a meal with us. Fans, food, fun. Seasons.
Troy Jackson bragged about being one of Graham Plattner's earliest supporters. When the news of Plattner's Nazi tattoo came out, Jackson stood with Plattner. When Plattner blamed women for getting raped because they get drunk, Jackson stood by Plattner. And when the media reported Plattner was violent toward women, Jackson stood again with Plattner.
I want to say thank you very much to Troy.
Don't be fooled by Troy Jackson. He's another phony we can't trust. Pine Tree Results PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Family owned and operating in the Bangor area for more than 10 years. Crosby's Welding is here to help you. We specialize in steel, stainless steel, and aluminum welding and fabrication. We serve many of the local industries from Maine lobstermen to the commercial trucking industry and everything in between. Fully mobile on-site construction services right down to custom signs and fire pits. Fast, friendly, reliable service. Give us a call today for a free estimate, 974-7815.
We've got a 100-year-old company here, and it's because of the service, the quality, and the experience. It gets done right.
I think we've been doing it for so long. The only thing that we do, that when we walk into a room, we automatically know how to treat that window. We can take any product that the customer's looking for and make it work in just about any situation that they present us with. So
There's no reason to be overwhelmed.
No.
We can help you through it.
We're not going anywhere. We've been around for 100 years.
Seasons Lounge and Banquet Center. We're just one block from Hollywood Slots in Bangor and are now under new management with a new chef and a completely redesigned menu. Come grab a drink and enjoy a meal with us. Fans, food, fun. Seasons.
This weekend was all about the state berry. Since 2021, Governor Janet Mills has proclaimed the first weekend in August as Wild Blueberry Weekend in celebration of wild blueberries and the main processors who grow them. Our Grace Blanchard went to a farm in Penobscot and has more on the story.
This weekend, people across Maine are celebrating Maine's state berry.
Blueberries are great. We love blueberries. But also just like supporting the local farmers who are putting so much work into growing the blueberries.
August 1st and 2nd was proclaimed by Governor Janet Mills as the 6th annual Wild Blueberry Weekend.
Just learning about the pretty big piece of the economy that you don't always see. You just see it in the grocery store, but there's real people behind the scenes making it happen.
Among those people behind the scenes are the owners of Blue Hill Berry Company in Penobscot, who have been farming certified organic wild blueberries for nearly 3 decades.
We're trying to certainly help the industry overall by raising awareness and appreciation for what is our native crop.
Maine produces nearly 100% of all wild blueberries in the U.S.
You have specialized equipment that harvests the berries. We bring them in here to our facility. We have the equipment that specially processes them. This is called Fresh Pack blueberries.
Last year alone, Maine farmers harvested 55 million pounds of wild blueberries. Lindholm hopes Wild Blueberry Weekend puts a spotlight on the farmers driving this sector.
It's not an easy industry to survive in as a grower, so getting to know who the growers are and what it takes to produce this fruit is something that I hope everyone goes home with.
In Penobscot, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, on that same note, as summer in Maine reaches its peak, one of the state's most treasured agricultural resources begins its prime. Our Sam Miller with the story.
From late July to early September, Maine's fresh wild blueberry season is in its prime, and local farms are already hard at work.
We're a third of the way through our harvest and probably still have another 3 weeks to go.
Williams Family Farm in Clifton has started their blueberry production process, gearing up for a season that drives a large portion of the state's agricultural economy. While most growers sell their berries to processors, the Williams farm does everything from start to finish themselves before delivering them. Every day, blueberries are harvested and offloaded by the truckload. According to farm co-owner John Williams, this is where the real fun begins.
We put it through the process line. The machinery does a lot of taking the leaves and the sticks out, and even takes a lot of the green berries and soft berries out. And then by hand we have to finish and get the remaining stems and green ones out before they're packaged in a quart. It's basically ready for sale at that point.
On Thursday, the farm delivered 2,600 quarts of blueberries, their biggest yet. Williams says this is a great sign that the season will be fruitful.
It's a very good season. It's a good crop. Whether it's someone small like us or the big growers, it's going to be a good crop. And last year was an awful season, so that's going to be a big boost to all the people. It's much needed.
Williams Farm is open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. In Clifton, Sam Miller, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Boy, I got to go get some blueberries. They
Yeah,
look good.
those ones specifically are very, very good.
Over there in Clifton?
Yes, yeah. They have a little stand out front. I always drive by and get a little pack of them, and they're very tasty.
Make some muffins and some blueberry
Absolutely.
pancakes. And,
Yes. Well, now let's turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Can you tell I'm hungry?
Yes.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. We have a small craft advisory that is posted until 8 a.m. as we head towards your Tuesday along the coast. Active surf will be expected as an area low pressure tracks from the southwest and goes toward the north and east, and we're not seeing it just quite yet. All the active surface further off towards the south and west at this moment in time, so all the buoys nearby are not looking too bad just quite yet, and the key word for now is yet. But water temperatures at the moment are in the mid 60s nearby, even some 60s and even some 70s further off towards the east. Meanwhile, the big headline now is going to be the showers and thunderstorms that are going to be moving in from the southwest to the north and east. The lightning tracker is on, so no lightning with this just quite yet, but it is going to be taking place later on today with all the rainfall moving in. We could use some rainfall. Some areas, especially farther down toward the south and to the west, are in drought right now, so we'll take the rainfall as well. This is that area low pressure that's tracking off towards to the north and to the east, and again, that's what's going to be giving us the showers and the thunderstorms that will be moving in today. So let's check out this area low pressure. Showers and thunderstorms today, and the winds will be gusty as well, not only today and tonight, but also into tomorrow as well, with the area low pressure tracking to the north and east. The good news is we'll have some sunshine at least, but even as we head towards Tuesday evening, we'll still have some wind to deal with, even though the sky will be more on the clear side. It will be Wednesday before things start to calm down. So for today, here's what we got. Showers and thunderstorms. Yes, wind too, with highs in the mid 70s. South wind at about 25 miles per hour. Later on tonight, thunderstorms early, then partly cloudy, lows only in the low 60s, and a south wind at about 30 miles per hour. And then for tomorrow, a lot better, mostly sunny, still windy, with highs in the mid 80s and a west wind at about 30 miles per hour. All right, let's check out your extended forecast. Wednesday, partly cloudy, highs warming into the upper 80s, with Thursday, partly cloudy, highs in the low 90s. And then Friday, showers and thunderstorms with highs in the upper 80s.
From the heart of Maine, where rugged beauty meets timeless craftsmanship, Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, taming the outdoors through groundwork, retaining walls and seawalls, building custom fireplaces that become the centerpiece of your home, crafting granite steps and patios that invite you outdoors, designing hardscapes that turn yards into living spaces, built to last, crafted for life. Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, quality in every stone. Got old metal and junk cars? Turn that clutter into cash at Daddy and Daughters. We make recycling easy, fast, and fair. From Skowhegan to Dover Foxcroft, from Troy to Lee, you can trust our certified scales and friendly service, offering top prices for junk vehicles in Maine. Whether you drop off or we pick up, Daddy and Daughters covers central and eastern Maine. Come see us at one of our 4 locations and watch your scrap pay off. Daddy and Daughters, turn scrap into cash.
Bob's Discount is about to go even further. The Massachusetts sales tax holiday is officially the weekend of August 8th and 9th, but you can pre-select right now at Bob's Discount Furniture. That's right, pick out your furniture now, in-store or by phone, and save the sales tax. We'll write your order and process it over the tax-free weekend. Because when you save the sales tax, Bob's Discount goes even further, with no phony sales and no phony gimmicks ever. Oh my Bob!
Bob's Discount Furniture.
Hank's Husqvarna is your trusted full-line Husqvarna dealer, offering you everything you need for your outdoor projects. From high-performance lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers to chainsaws, trimmers, battery-powered and powerful snowblowers, we have just what you need. Every piece of equipment is fully set up, serviced, and ready for use by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or new equipment sales, make your way to Hank's Husqvarna in Carmel or Newport.
New details in the deadly shooting rampage at an In-N-Out restaurant in Idaho. We're learning about the man being hailed as a hero for opening fire on the suspect. 3 people were killed and 7 were injured before the shooter turned the gun on himself. But police say it could have been a lot worse if that Good Samaritan and an off-duty officer had not intervened. Here's ABC's Hannah Battah.
He's the man seen in this video, returning fire as a gunman carried out a shooting rampage outside an In-N-Out restaurant in Twin Falls, Idaho.
Everybody's running.
35-year-old Jordan Salinas tells the Idaho Statesman he had just pulled into the parking lot when he heard gunfire. He says he drew his semi-automatic pistol and saw the suspect lift a rifle to his shoulder and fire toward cars. That's when Salinas began firing. Police say an off-duty policeman at the scene also returned fire.
These people are true heroes in our community, and their actions diverted the shooter and no doubt saved many lives.
Police say the shooter, identified as 24-year-old Chad Williams, killed 3 people and injured 7 others before taking his own life.
Call the police.
What's happening? What's happening?
What happened?
What's happening?
Lindsay Tangai heard the shots.
It was just mass chaos. The attention was everybody running from in and out.
She found several victims, including her friend Terry Dudley, a taxi driver who was shot in his car.
So I walked over and Terry was in his front seat, still conscious at the moment, but not really able to communicate.
That In-N-Out opened just days ago, drawing massive crowds. The company says one of its employees is among the dead, saying the shooter took the precious lives of our associate and customers, innocent people who never saw it coming.
Police have not yet revealed a possible motive for the shooting. Hannah Battah, ABC News, New York.
Well, negotiations between the U.S. and Iran are set to continue today. According to President Trump, this as he called off a massive attack on Iran over the weekend. ABC's Karen Waugh has the latest.
Good morning. President Trump did a 180 this weekend. On Friday saying there would be a massive attack on Iran, then on Sunday saying Gulf allies wanted him to hold off and try diplomacy again. This morning, President Trump says negotiations with Iran are picking back up, adding he called off an attack on Iran over the weekend at the request of Gulf allies, including Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates.
It was going to be an attack that would have been by far the biggest attack since World War II, but they've asked us not to do it.
The president claimed a deal with Iran is imminent, as he has previously claimed numerous times. The whiplash strategy has become routine as Trump attempts to resolve the conflict. Iran has yet to give any indication that it will ease its control over the Strait of Hormuz. Over the weekend, Iranian leaders said negotiations with Oman regarding the opening of the Strait of Hormuz are in their final stages. But the strait will not go back to the way it was pre-war. Democratic lawmakers remain skeptical.
And I think what we're seeing here is a president who has an approach to this that's just rather erratic. He says one thing, he does another thing.
Some Republican senators are urging Trump to maintain the sanctions until Iran reopens the strait.
Whatever he does, do not release the sanctions, stopping their sale of oil, or remove the blockade until we see Iran take firm actions to open the strait.
Another point of concern, there are more signs the war between Ukraine and Russia is overlapping with the war against Iran. Last week, Ukraine attacked an Iranian ship it said was carrying military supplies. Karen Waugh, ABC News, Washington.
Well, now to a wildfire emergency in the western U.S. Dozens of fires are burning, including in the area of Spokane, Washington, where 60,000 people have been forced to evacuate. More than 600 homes and buildings in the Spokane area are damaged or destroyed by multiple wildfires. Authorities calling it the worst natural disaster the region has ever seen. More than 7,000 acres are burning, and firefighters are racing in from California and as far away as Australia. Experts say these fires are fueled by drought and extreme wind.
Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche officially rescinding a fund meant to compensate President Trump's political allies after weeks of negotiations within the Senate. Acting Attorney General Blanche issued the formal order on Sunday, terminating President Trump's $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund, meant to pay people who say they were politically persecuted. Republican Senators Tom Tillis and John Cornyn have expressed concerns over the fund due to an agreement that made Trump immune from IRS audits. Tillis and Cornyn have refused to vote for Blanche as the full-time Attorney General unless it is put into writing that Trump will no longer pursue that anti-weaponization fund. Blanche's Sunday order says, quote, "The fund is not moving forward." The document also limits Trump's immunity from tax audits. Blanche's order comes days before the Senate Judiciary Committee is set to vote on his nomination for Attorney General.
Well, coming up on the second half of the newscast, we'll take a look at the Ride for Vets event put on by Central Maine Harley-Davidson.
That and more straight ahead on Good Morning Maine.
I got hurt in this accident and I had to have multiple surgeries that were so expensive. I can't afford this.
If you've been hurt, you deserve to be free from your car accident problem, free from the worry of medical costs, and free from your financial struggles. Call the Twos right now. It's free.
I made a free call to Lowry Law and they got me $250,000. The Twos set me free.
I'm your go-to guy.
Speed. Alex Pillow is obsessed with speed. And when your average Sunday goes 250 miles per hour, it can be hard downshifting to the speed of Shelley. So you'll forgive Alex if the next time he decides to get milk, he doesn't get it here. He gets it here. You want to catch Alex Pillow? Welcome to the fastest racing on Earth.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. Today is August 3rd, 2026. This is also National Friendship Day.
This special day celebrates the vital and loving connections that make our lives full. It encourages us to reach out, express gratitude, and strengthen our bonds with friends. You can plan a get-together, send a thoughtful note, or simply call a good friend and tell them how much they mean to you.
Yeah, it's so very important. It's good advice to get a nice smaller circle of friends who you can count on throughout your life.
Sometimes a nice call goes a long way as well. Yeah. Give a friend a call today.
Never forget to be a friend. To have a friend, you got to be a friend.
Exactly. You know? Very important.
All right, time for some history. It was on this date back in 1852. During the first sporting competition between American colleges, Harvard rode past Yale to win the first Harvard-Yale regatta. In 1936 on this date, American track and field star Jesse Owens won the first of his 4 gold medals at the Berlin Olympic Games, a feat that destroyed Adolf Hitler's myth about Aryan supremacy. But despite being a global hero, Owens wasn't treated as such when he returned home to Alabama. Only white Olympians were invited to the White House, and Owens still faced Jim Crow segregation laws. Aww, real sad story, bittersweet.
Yeah.
Well, in 1949, after struggling to win fans of their own, 2 rival basketball leagues merged to form the National Basketball Association. That's how we got the NBA.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
1958, the U.S. submarine Nautilus became the first to travel under the North Pole, pioneering a new and shorter route from the Pacific to the Atlantic and Europe. In 1981, U.S. air traffic controllers went on strike while demanding better pay and workplace improvements. The strike caused thousands of cancellations and delays, while supervisors and members of the military tried to keep that system running. But in the end, President Ronald Reagan fired the more than 11,000 striking members and barred them from federal employment in the future. And in 1996, the Macarena began its lead at the top of the pop charts and would spend 60 weeks there. The catchy song with a Spanish flair would spend more time at the top of the charts than, get this, any other song in history.
I couldn't believe that when I read that this morning.
Me either.
You know,
That's so crazy.
Think about some of the best known songs, your favorite song, and Macarena beats it. Yeah.
It's too funny.
Yeah. All right, for birthdays today, they include TV personality and businesswoman Martha Stewart, who is 85, a part-time Maine resident.
Yes.
Actor Jason Momoa is 47, and Patriots football great Tom Brady is 49 years old today. Happy birthday to them and to you also, if your birthday is today. I bet you Tom could still go out there and play football just fine.
Absolutely. He's our New England trophy for sure. We'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Monday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center. Now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. This morning we have a small craft advisory that is up until 8 a.m. as we head towards your Tuesday. We are going to be watching for some active surf as an area of low pressure approaches from the southwest and tracks off towards the north and to the east. Meanwhile, this morning we are watching for some rain that is developing from southwest and going toward the north and east. Not much lightning with this, but we are going to be watching for showers and thunderstorms today, and the winds will be picking up with this too, so be ready for some gusty winds on top of the rain, and that is why that small craft advisory is posted this morning. As we do watch this, though, we are going to be seeing this tracking northeast, and the rain, again, no lightning with this just quite yet, but it is going to be moving in our direction as we do push forward in time. So here we are. We do have the showers and thunderstorms moving in this morning. You notice the tight isobars. That is the wind right there, and it is going to change directions later on tonight. But notice this clears out, so that means Tuesday will be a lot better. The hourly forecast as we do push forward. Again, showers and yes, thunderstorms today with temperatures only in the low 70s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
All right, thank you, Devin. Well, now for the latest on what's happening in Hollywood.
Here's ABC's Allison Cossack.
Dr. Banner?
No Banner, only Hulk.
Spider-Man Brand New Day swung to box office history over the weekend. The movie made $168 million on its opening day at the domestic box office, making it the biggest North American opening day ever. It netted $355 million domestically over the whole of the weekend. Let's go! The Odyssey sailed in at number 2 with $51 million. The Greek epic is in its third weekend.
Let's play!
Oh, extinction! Not again!
And Toy Story 5 rounded out the top 3 with $6.3 million. We also got some big casting news out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Actress Samara Weaving will play Emma Frost in Marvel's upcoming reboot of The X-Men. Both X-Men and Spider-Man are produced by divisions of Disney, the parent company of ABC News. Allison Cossack, ABC News, New York.
Well, still to come here this morning, Jack Webb with sports.
Don't go away.
Bogies offers a different kind of night out in Bangor, blending a full restaurant with sports simulators, axe throwing, and live music. We have something for everyone. Bogies, a new way to play.
Cancer affects everyone, but there is hope. Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center's Champion the Cure Challenge. Make a difference for our loved ones facing cancer at Champion the Cure Challenge, where every dollar raised helps patients in our own backyard. Walk, run, or cycle August 15th. Join the motorcycle ride or car show August 16th. Take the challenge to surround family and friends in cancer treatment. Celebrate survivors, remember loved ones we've lost, and lift up our community. Join us. Visit ctcchallenge.org.
Susan Collins broke her promise to protect Roe v. Wade. When Donald Trump called, she cast the deciding vote for his Supreme Court justices who overturned Roe v. Wade. And she voted to put more than 100 Trump judges on the bench. States are banning abortion without exceptions, and women are dying. But Susan Collins says,
I do not regret that vote.
Tell Susan Collins to stop breaking her word. Stop voting for Trump's anti-choice judges.
At Maine's #1 Kia dealer, Darling's Kia, we've got something for everyone. Shop our full lineup of new all-wheel drive, gas, EV, hybrid, or plug-in hybrid Kias. Plus, enjoy affordable lease programs and more incredible savings on award-winning Kias. And at Darling's Kia, your new vehicle is covered by our 10-year or 100,000-mile warranty. The best in the business. The best cars, the best prices, and the best warranty. Shop Darling's Kia. You'll do better at Darling's.
Bogies offers a different kind of night out in Bangor, blending a full restaurant with sports simulators, axe throwing, and live music. We have something for everyone. Bogies, new way to play.
Welcome to the show that nobody wants to win.
What did the itsy bitsy spider climb up?
Matt McKenzie, a state of Maine basketball legend in your own right? Madomic Valley is a player, Husson is a player and champion, Husson as a coach and champion. Then you get into the private training world, right? And you meet the Flag twins, you know, and that's kind of what you're more known for all of a sudden, right? That's almost what you're famous for in this area and honestly at this point across the country. And I want to take it back to the beginning, right? What is your first memory of the Flag twins? What was the introduction like? How'd you get to know them and the Flag family?
The introduction was I got a Facebook message from Kelly Flagg back when Cooper and Ace were in the 6th grade. And she said that she had 2 twin boys that were in love with the game. They were eager to continue to work on their skills. They were familiar with a player named Bryce Lozier, who was Maine Mr. Basketball Gatorade Player of the Year. And I had been working with him for years. And they wanted to kind of follow in his footsteps with regard to how he was working on his game. And so she asked if I would consider working with them. And the first time that I met them, Ralph Flagg, their dad, brought them in, and we kind of put them through the ringer, and they fell in love with my approach, and we just built this unbelievable relationship built on trust, truth-telling, and it's just been great ever since.
We'll get to this year, and we talked about it before, but for Coop, coming into his rookie season, obviously you're trying to adjust to NBA basketball when he was supposed to be entering his freshman year of college, right? I mean, what was the grind process like and the work like last summer to prepare him for an NBA season?
Last summer, we were really preparing for the draft combine, the team workouts, really kind of trying to mimic what those workouts would look like. And then obviously looking ahead at the NBA style, heavy pick and roll, isolation, trying to pick the brains of NBA coaches to see how he would potentially play, how they envisioned him playing in the league. So we really put together these workouts week after week that would kind of put him into game-like situations that he's going to see as an NBA player. And I thought that he handled last summer very well. It was a lot of work, and we prepared him the best we possibly could for his rookie year. And I think we did a really good job of that. Now, knowing what we know post-rookie year, it's really going to allow us to do some different things this summer. So I travel out there on Sunday, and we'll get on the floor with a couple of his assistant coaches with the Mavs, and we kind of treat it like a team approach. And so they'll be able to kind of sprinkle in some of the different actions that the Mavs run and the defensive coverages, and then I can kind of tackle the skill development side. But again, going back to your question about last summer, it was a lot of work, but I think that he handled it very well, and he was very prepared, or as prepared as he possibly could have been for the rookie year, although that first back-to-back, that hit him right in the face.
Did it really? You got a story about that, or was that just something he was like, wow, like playing an NBA game back-to-back? Like, was that just something he, at the end, was it before he kind of raised a question to you? Was it after? He was like, that was a lot. What was that like for him?
Well, I think his first 2 welcome to the NBA moments were, number 1, opening night. He starts opening night playing against Wemby, and seeing that kind of size, his first NBA game in front of the Dallas fans, I think that was a lot. And I think he realized, okay, this is a different level. And not that he wasn't ready for it, I think he was, but it was, wow, I'm here. And then also his first back-to-back, just what that does to your body. And, you know, the NBA game, it's so physical, it's fast, and, you know, it takes a big toll on your body. And to have to go through 2 games back-to-back, I think that his body was like screaming at him. And so he had to kind of change his approach a little bit in terms of his sleep, his pregame routine, making sure that his diet is dialed in so that way his body could just perform at a high level throughout those 82 games.
You know, you talk about the back-to-back, that welcome to the NBA moment. We talked about, you know, a moment where he needed some help, right? He called you, and I think you said it was after the Clippers game, or might have been LA. It was sometime in LA. Yeah. Can you share that story? Just about a time where, you know, Coop had to adjust and had a little trouble adjusting to the NBA game.
There were a couple different points during the season, and again, he's not afraid to reach out for help. He's not afraid to ask for another opinion. But we had a great conversation out in LA around the Clippers game. I think it was in the end of November. And it was more so just about him being as assertive as he needed to be on the floor, and understanding that in order for his team to play well, he needed to be aggressive getting to his spots. It was okay for him to maybe take 1 or 2 bad shots from time to time just to figure it out. And you kind of saw that turning point out there in LA. I challenged him to shoot 16 shot attempts in that game. Well, he ended up having 16 shot attempts in the first half.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Are you experiencing foot pain? Comfort Shoes and More has a team of experts trained in pet orthotics to help you find relief. They offer tailored fittings, shoe modifications, customized orthotics, and much more for the ordinary or for the hard-to-fit foot, with fashionable and functional footwear from today's top brands: Hoka, Brooks, Keen, Teva, Taos, Ufus, and Birkenstocks. From running to walking, casual or dress, they have it all. Take the drive to Newport for a sit and fit to find your perfect fit. You and your feet will be glad you did.
A few weeks ago, I went down to the basement to see what was happening with the boilers and opened the door, and there was about 12 to 14 inches of water in our basement. I knew who to call right away, and that was Bouchard. They were here within a half hour. They work well with our insurance company. They're very, very efficient, and all I have to do is call them any time of day. They're going to take care of me. Our business is our life, and that's why I don't hesitate to recommend them to other people.
Make your outdoor living space dreams come true with a little help from Granville Stone and Hearth. Granville can help you go from this to this. Outdoor fireplaces, custom outdoor kitchens, gorgeous stone patios, and more. You bring the dreams, we'll supply the materials to make it all real. Create your stunning outdoor oasis with help from the experts at Granville Stone and Hearth, Main Road, Holden.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, more than 100 riders took part in the annual We Ride for Vets charity motorcycle ride over the weekend. Central Maine Harley-Davidson partnered with Jarhead's MC, Dirigo Crew, to put on the 4th annual ride. Organizers say the ride is more about motorcycles. It's about honoring those who have sacrificed for our country and giving back to veterans in need. All of the proceeds benefit the Maine Veterans Project, an organization dedicated to reducing veteran suicides through various programs and services.
Whether you ride a motorcycle or you don't, I think that we should all do our best to support our local veterans in any way that we can, through our time, our money, and our efforts.
Well, Oliver said more than 150 people took part in this year's ride, and according to her, the event has helped raise over $10,000 for MVP over the past few years.
What a great thing to do.
Yes, it was all by donation as well, which is great. We had him on the show last week, and they were telling me all about it, so I'm glad they had a good turnout.
Very nice. Not a great day to be riding a motorcycle today, though.
No, the rain, we can just hear it coming down.
Sounds like the ceiling's going to come in and come down at any moment.
It really does. Here's meteorologist Evan Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. We have a small craft advisory that is posted until 8 a.m. as we head towards your Tuesday along the coast. Active surf will be expected as an area low pressure tracks from the southwest and goes toward the north and east, and we're not seeing it just quite yet. All the active surface further off towards the south and west at this moment in time, so all the buoys nearby are not looking too bad just quite yet, and the key word for now is yet. But water temperatures at the moment are in the mid 60s nearby, even some 60s and even some 70s further off towards the east. Meanwhile, the big headline now is going to be the showers and thunderstorms that are going to be moving in from the southwest to the north north and east. The lightning tracker is on, so no lightning with this just quite yet, but it is going to be taking place later on today with all the rainfall moving in. We could use some rainfall. Some areas, especially farther down toward the south end of the west, are in drought right now, so we'll take the rainfall as well. This is that area low pressure that's tracking off towards to the north end of the east, and again, that's what's going to be giving us the showers and the thunderstorms that will be moving in today. So let's check out this area low pressure. Showers and thunderstorms today, and the winds will be gusty as well, not only today and tonight, but also into tomorrow as well, with the area low pressure tracking to the north and east. The good news is we'll have some sunshine at least, but even as we head towards Tuesday evening, we'll still have some wind to deal with, even though the sky will be more on the clear side. It will be Wednesday before things start to calm down. So for today, here's what we got. Showers and thunderstorms. Yes, wind too, with highs in the mid-70s. South wind at about 25 miles per hour. Later on tonight, thunderstorms early, then partly cloudy, lows only in the low 60s, and a south wind at about 30 miles per hour. And then for tomorrow, a lot better, mostly sunny, still windy, with highs in the mid-80s and that west wind at about 30 miles per hour. All right, let's check out your extended forecast. Wednesday, partly cloudy, highs warming into the upper 80s, with Thursday, partly cloudy, highs in the low 90s, and then Friday, showers and thunderstorms with highs in the upper 80s.
Disturbing news about threats of violence against women. Is it Graham Plattner again? No, it's Troy Jackson. When a female legislator disagreed with Jackson, he threw a water bottle at her in anger. The woman was deeply frightened. Jackson was known for bullying, and his screaming felt like intentional intimidation. His brash conduct with women raised alarm bells about his temperament. Troy Jackson, another phony we can't trust. Pine Tree Results PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Kirk Fisher is a motorcycle attorney with first responder experience. He protects fellow riders and those in danger, fighting fires and fighting for your rights. Experienced, determined, and dedicated. Iron Horse Motorcycle Lawyers. Look for motorcycles, or Kirk Fisher will be looking for you.
Welcome to Kings Mountain RC and Hobby Shop in Brewer.
And some call me the King.
There are RC trucks, cars, crawlers, and parts aplenty. There are planes, metal detectors, and gear galore. I have decreed that all people can book birthday parties with their RC vehicles provided for all. We have indoor and outdoor tracks and crawling courses available. Bring yourself, your family, and friends to Kings Mountain RC and Hobby Shop, South Main Street, Brewer.
You know Matt pretty well. Did he give you any advice?
He said that I should use 26 words or more.
When every word counts.
Trash panda.
Raccoon.
Yeah, hand me a trash panda.
That was gangster. It pays to choose wisely.
Wed, Thurs.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
You just won it! 25 words or less every weekday.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
From tiny terriers to giant retrievers, these dogs hang 10 paws, get it?
Yes.
Hang 10 paws at a surfing contest. Dozens of doggies demonstrated their surfing skills at the 10th Annual Dog Surfing Championships in Pacifica, California. It was held on Saturday. They showed off balance, style, and confidence as crowds lined the beach to cheer them on.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
The competitions are categorized by size, and there's a scoring criteria as well. Safety crews monitoring the conditions and the canine competitors along the way. Despite high surf warnings in effect throughout the day, organizers reported no disruptions to that event. Organizers are already looking ahead to next year's event. for the dogs to have their day at the beach.
It might be the cutest thing I've ever seen. Well, it was a great day yesterday to run across some crates. The 79th annual Maine Lobster Festival wrapped up with its annual International Great Crate Race. And if you didn't catch our live broadcast of the event, that was on Fox 22, here's some results. In the super class, it was Owen Dakin from Wyndham finishing with 31 crates. In the medium class, it was Blake Monroe from Owl's Head with 78 crates. In the light class, it was Mauve Poland from Cushing with 279 crates. And in the feather class from Rockland, it was Maverick Asplin crossing with a total of 6,050 crates. Congratulations to all of them.
Yeah, we had a great time down there, and thanks to everybody again for helping us do the crate races.
Well, that's all the time that we have left for this morning, but as always, we thank you for joining us.
Have a good day, everyone.
Today on 25 Words or Less, his performance on Lip Sync Battle had viewers everywhere saying, well, at least he wasn't actually singing. It's Matt Eisman. And joining Matt are newlyweds Anna and